My name's Julian Davison, and I've spent a great part of my life living here in Singapore. They tended to be built with a wooden frame and then brick infill, which was plastered over white, and the frame was painted black. And in England, they're called black and white houses. People started looking back at England's wonderful legacy of traditional architecture. And we see it being imported into Singapore, fused with the Anglo-Malay bungalow style, verandas, high ceilings, so the hot air rises, makes the buildings cool, designed for the tropics. That's what's special about the black and white house, because it's kind of really a meeting of East and West, as far as I'm aware. And what it really means is a rather expensive and rather nice house, dwelling, with a bit of land around it, some trees, some greenery. And that is what a good class bungalow is. But it's not necessarily a black and white house. Black and white house answers to all of that description, but the big difference is it's a heritage building. So the surviving black and white house is largely a creation of the Public Works Department. And the earliest examples go back to about the turn of the last century, about 1910. And we see them at places like Goodwood Hill, the houses that were built for the judiciary, Seaton Close, Nassim Hill. And that's like the first generation of black and white house that is still surviving. And then they sort of slowly evolve and become more modern. I'm thinking of somewhere like Malcolm Road. And at a certain point, what used to be a kind of timber frame building becomes a reinforced concrete building. But the actual kind of style of the building, the layout, the plan, the design, there is a continuity there. One important thing about the black and white house is that they were, of course, built in the days before air conditioning. So people put a lot of thought into how they could be best suited, best adapted to the climate. We've talked about the living floor being raised up, high ceilings, hot air rises. You'll notice in all black and white houses they have very tall door openings and window openings, so they could be flung open to make the most of the ambient breezes. We have lessons to learn architecturally, so it's important that we have these buildings to look at and see how they were lived in, especially in this day and age where sustainability is very much a key word. Well, the important thing about the black and white house, being an old building, it's quite tricky to maintain. And the first, most important thing is it's got to be lived in. If you leave it empty, even for a couple of years, and even if there's a jugger looking out for it or whatever, they run down very soon, and they need a lot of work, a lot of money putting in to revamp them and refurbish them and bring them up to modern living standards. So I think it's really beholden on the SLA to make sure that they full as maximum occupancy as much of the time as possible. And anyway, it's a shame. Why leave these beautiful properties empty?